Hello again, everyone. We're at the world famous, historic. Not buying it? Well, you shouldn't, because of course we're at the Pro Wrestling Mini Museum. We're about to take it to the extreme. So a big thing with wrestling fans in ECW is they like to say, I was there. Problem is, a lot of times they were too young, or they're just saying it to be cool. I was in fact there because I was fortunate enough to live in a part of the country which was close to a lot of shows, and I was in my car a lot to go see these shows. You can see the Orange County Fairgrounds, Middletown, New York on September 21st. 1 week later, I'm at the Ag Hall in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You can see I got my ringside ticket for that one, so that was pretty cool. Then, of course, the legendary ECW Arena on October 5th. Ultimate Jeopardy. You can see my ticket there. Only general admission for the arena. But what an atmosphere. What a great time to be a fan. And I'm really glad I was there. Now, if you were at one of these shows, of course, you had a chance to pick up some cool merch. Particularly these ECW t-shirts. The company t-shirts were very popular. You can see this is the basic bloody logo. And on the back, join the revolution. So, of course, the wrestlers themselves and the factions had cool shirts as well. Here's an original triple threat shirt signed by the franchise Shane Douglas and the Queen of Extreme Francine. And there's the back of that one. Now, if you were driving around in these towns to go see ECW, you'd see something that was very common to promote these local shows back then, and that were these posters. You can tell this one is well worn because I did not buy this. This was 3/4 off a telephone pole when I was driving by, and even then I thought it would be cool. So I grabbed it, and then it was in a closet for a few years. And the other funny thing about this is you can see there are misprints here with the names. You got Mickey Whipwreck instead of Mikey Whipwreck, and Ravishing Rick Pride. And that, of course, should be Ravishing Rick Rude. Let's take a look at some more merch. You have this original, obviously, you can see it's well worn, ECW Hardcore Wrestling hat. Had this with me at quite a few events, and despite the shape it's in, I treasure it. So one of the more unique items they actually had for sale at a lot of events were these candid photos of the wrestlers that were autographed. So here you see Saturn and Cronus, the Eliminators. And of course, Saturn is back out there. Cronus has sadly passed, and not too many of those. So I'm glad I picked these up when I did. So of course, I've got some standard 8x10s. Here you got Dreamer and Beulah. What about Raven? Well, I got your picture right here, buddy. Of course, Kimona. Little Guido of the FBI. That's full-blooded Italians. The original Gangsta New Jack. And we have the voice of ECW, Joey Styles. Sadly, Joey does not want anything to do with wrestling these days, so I'm glad I got his autograph. This was at an Evolve show, which is a tribute to the arena with Sabu and Just Incredible in the main event. The arena was supposed to close, and as we know, it came back better than ever. More photos. We've got Spike Dudley. Got this probably one of one Terry Funk inscribed photo. No complaints, no regrets. Gave my all, love you all forever and ever. P.S. I mean every word. Terry Funk. And speaking of Terry Funk, I also have this 11 by 14 double signed photo of Cactus Jack versus Terry. Of course, you got that flaming branding iron. More photos on the wall here. Too Cold Scorpio, ECW TV champ, the Sandman, Taz brother, Dudley's, the head cheerleader Francine, and the franchise Shane Douglas. Usually everyone gets Queen of Extreme, including me, but I wanted head cheerleader. Got Rocco Rock, Johnny Grunge, the Public Enemy. They're taking over. The Blue World Order. The Blue Guy, Big Stevie Cool, and Hollywood Nova. Then we have some figures. You have this Figures Toy Company, Legends of Wrestling, Queen of Extreme Francine. And then we have this Major Bendy of Francine. I think this is really cool, and it's nice that the red paint pen came out nice over the red dress. Let's keep going with Francine and start some ring worn. We've got these Francine airbrush shorts, property of Stevie Richards. If you're wondering where you can see these, the very famous commercial for Extreme Warfare, where they promote the cat fight between Francine and Beulah McGillicuddy. There's a screenshot, a little blurry, but that's what I could get. And speaking of ring worn, let's go to some Beulah items. There's a ring worn sweater from 1998. You can see a picture of her with Tommy and one with Tommy and Sandman. Then you got her knee pads from that famous bloody match with Bill Alfonso, As Good as It Gets, in the ECW arena. And possibly my favorite, you've got this original Beulah skirt. She wore it a few times, but to me it just screams ECW, screams Beulah. I've got one more Francine item, this ring-worn gold dress, worn when she accompanied Shane Douglas during his television title reign. I believe this is on an episode of Hardcore TV from Boston in 1996. And finishing off the ladies, we've got this Dawn Marie set from Guilty as Charged 2000. And there's also a picture of her with the Impact players wearing that set. One of the highlights of my collection, we've got this Taz singlet. And also we have this RVD singlet that I was actually at a few matches for. So this one means a lot to me. Then we have ECW related. It says TNA, but this was the TNA reunion show, Hardcore Justice. This was worn by Bill Alfonso. And you see the manager of Champions, Sabu. The other sleeve does have RVD. There you go. So, even though I do not have an ECW shirt yet, I really like this one. And speaking of Fonzie, I forgot this picture of Rob Van Dam and Sabu with Bill Alfonso, signed by all. Now let's get to the main event. I've got this ECW canvas. It is signed by practically the entire living roster. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through all these signatures. I will just point out some unique ones. JC Ice is on here. Wolfie D, PG-13. I don't know if JC Ice will ever come out again. Dean Malenko. Samu as Sammy Silk from the Samoan Gangsta Party. Now the big signature that's missing, that I didn't think I would get because he only did privates. and that's 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭. He'll be at the big event as I record this in November. And obviously I wasn't going to mail this for the privates. So it's like I always say, if these guys are still with us, there's always a chance. So until next time, stay hardcore and check out some of my other videos.